Page 8, Rockin' on 6. I'll explain the 6 in a minute. Let's look this piece over. It's 4/4 time. There's no sharps or flats in the key signatures, but I see there's some E flats stuck in here, so we're going to have A flat occasionally. Otherwise, I think it's all white keys. We got quarter notes and eighth notes. Think we can handle that? Let's do it one hand at a time. Just make sure we got the notes and the rhythm and the fingering. Right hand first. You're starting with a 1, 2. Now, so you're not here, you're here. 1, 2. Because we got A's in this thing, we got to keep those in mind. So it's 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Second line. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and fun. You get to top of page 9. Last measure. Now they're E flats. Yes, they're both of those E's are E flats because the flat applies to the rest of the measure. Second line is here. Now it's natural. So forth. Go down to the third line. Second measure, you're here. That's an E flat in there, but the next measure it's an E natural. Fourth, left hand. We have here and then an A. And that's where the 6 comes in. That's an interval of a sixth. So we're just rocking on 6. Now this is a good exercise because your thumb needs to be able to do this, and you need to get to where you can do it without looking at the keyboard where you can feel this. However, another fingering you can try when you get this, because this pattern is actually quite common. Generally when we do it, we'll use the 2. We'll come here. So we're doing 2 and then 1. If you were my student in front of me, that's what I would suggest you do. On these 5 CGs, use 5-2. And then on the A's. However, there's nothing wrong with the fingering in the book, and you can try both for exercise, for practice. That's really all the left hand does. Until the very last measure, about on page 9, has an 8/8 under it. So you move the left hand, only the left hand, not both. Left hand is just down an octave. That's all. And there you can use 5-1 if you want. Put the hands together here. Is like your drums, the beat. It's just that bass drum is going, and it's going to keep you steady no matter what. But in the second line, you get this little riff thing in the right hand. That little solo. So forth. That's really what the piece is, pretty much. As far as the articulation goes, there's not a lot going on. I suggest you feel this, because you can play some of these staccatos. You see, when they don't give you anything, it's like the first line there on page 8. They don't give you any articulation at all. There's nothing, no slurs, no staccatos, no nothing. That leaves it entirely up to you and your imagination of how you want to interpret it. But you gotta get to know the piece well so you can feel it before you start doing that. But you can get in the... That's just... And every time I would play this, I would play it differently. Who knows? It's up to me and my imagination, because the music doesn't say anything. Other than it's slurring the eighth notes. I gotta connect those. Well, that's fine. That comes a little later. That's part of the interpreting part. It's just, you don't have to, you play these, whatever. You can play both hands the same art. If you're gonna make staccato on one hand, you can make staccato on the other too. It's fine. Dynamic wise, you're starting out moderately loud. This is the right hand. Keep the left hand out of the way here. And you're going to crescendo up to loud in the first measure of this, for the eighth notes. second line there, that's loud. So you go gradually, and you got like 3 whole measures to do this. Well, if you don't plan it out, you'll be loud by the second measure. So I'm suggesting maybe you stay moderately loud. Maybe the first 2 measures, don't change it. Whatever you think moderately loud is, sort of loud. But since you got a crescendo, maybe you want to start out a little softer than that. So you got more room to crescendo. And then back down to loud, slower, loud. So that's sort of how this is going until the very last line on page 9, where you start coming down all the way down to soft. You're loud here, because after on the 3rd line on page 9, you get the loud in the second measure. You don't get a moderately loud again. You're staying loud there. Now get a little softer, soft. Just for that last note is soft. Don't get soft until that last half note. And that's a fermata on that. You just hang that out a little longer. With a metronome, I'd double the value and hold it for 4 counts instead of 2. So I can stay with a metronome. Speed-wise, whatever you think a moderate rock tempo, I think about where I just played it is fine. Then there's a note at the bottom of page 8, a couple of notes actually, where you can play this with a jazz feel. You see in blues, swing, and jazz, those 3 types of music, when you get 8th notes, you swing the 8th notes. Or you play the 8th notes long and short. The counting is, you swing the counting, and the 8th notes go along for the ride. You don't swing anything else, just the 8th notes. So instead of counting 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth, you count 1 and 2 and 3, and that's the jazz feel, or blues or swing. So let's try that. 1 and 2 and... So it's a felt thing. There's no notation for it. So they put it in straight 8th notes, and you understand if it's jazz, swing, or blues, you just swing them. If they want you to play them evenly, they have to put a note in the music, play evenly or something like that. If you're getting this pretty good, then you can also add one more thing about a jazz style playing. And that is on these 8th notes, on these long shorts, put a little accent on the short note. So it's all, look at the 8th notes at the bottom of page 8 here. Well, accent the short note. So I think when we do the play with me, I'll sort of start out with the regular accents, and I'll switch to the jazz accents a little later on, so you get an idea of both. But really with a jazz, if you want to play it in a jazz style, you need to accent, put a little, not a big one, just a little accent on the short notes on those 8th notes. So let's try that. That's, I think, very interesting. I like to play it with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms and all, and I will swing the 8th notes just for fun. I won't do the dynamics, but let's try it together slowly. I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, and go, and 1. rest, 4, hold, 2, off.